Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. I'm Nicole De Vera. And here are my group mates.
Hello, I'm Tabs.
Danielle.
I'm Bea.
I'm Ando.
I'm Dar.
Joanna.
I'm Aaron. Nego. Sir, and we would like to interview you, an economics professor, for our Persef class. Sir, so, first and foremost, why did you choose LaSalle?
I belong to the last batch of the grade school at TAF. Then when Isabel opened, I transferred. I did my whole grade school there. I did my whole high school there. So I've never studied in any other school, so there's no choice. I didn't even take the Ateneo or UP exams. If I didn't pass the LaSalle exam, I would have been an out-of-school youth.
So it's LaSalle or nothing. And next, sir, what was your course and why did you choose this course?
I did a double degree, AB Economics and Legal Management. I got into economics by accident. I actually came into LaSalle as a commerce student. And then something happened with my flowchart when I was in second year. So I couldn't major with the rest of my commerce block. And I think at the time I was just doing well in Interco, so I decided
to shift.
Yeah, to shift.
So were you able to find fulfillment in studying?
I think it's obvious that if you teach for 18 years, you find something. Yeah.
There's something in it.
Yeah.
So if you may, could you describe yourself as a student in terms of your involvements, achievements?
Okay. The first 2 years, I just studied a lot, and I was in the band, so that was my extracurricular activity. Pero nung third year ako, nag-apply ako sa LaSalle. I came in as an associate editor, and for my third year and fourth year, that was my main involvement.
Sir, well,
actually even now I help advise the LaSalle, so I'm still in touch with him.
Why a professor? I mean, out of every possible job.
On hindsight, well, I know I didn't want to be involved in corporate work. I knew that from the beginning. It just didn't. Nothing about it appealed to me. On hindsight, I realized that I do come from a family of teachers. Many people on my mother's side and my father's side went on to teaching. Yeah, but when I was growing up, it never occurred to me. The real moment I recall wanting to be a teacher was sometime during the fourth week of Econre 1 under Dr. Tulio. And if you've ever been under Tulio, I think you'll understand. So yeah, I can remember the exact moment I decided, yeah, I think I'm going to be able to do this.
So you really feel that teaching is your purpose?
Well, sa LaSalle kasi it's a little complicated because ever since I think the start of the 1990s, we moved away from being an exclusively teaching institution to becoming a research institution. Although teaching is still important. So if you ask me, do I think of teaching as a vocation? I would say, yeah, but mostly I want to be in an environment where there's learning taking place, where there's a kind of academic work taking place, whether it's teaching or research. It's okay. I teach very few courses nowadays. I do most of my real work in research.
It's really based on research. Sir, how has the LaSallian framework equipped you for the real world in terms of leadership, social engagement, and LaSallian spirituality?
I can tell you that it hasn't equipped me directly. What I mean by that is you don't take a diagram and teach teachers how to do it, or teach people or graduates how to do it. It's almost like saying, it's almost like how you teach ethics, right? You don't teach ethics through ethics courses. You see them by observing examples of them that you see in the place that you work. But yeah, specific experiences. But more often than not, it's the example that certain people set for you. So itong LaSallian framework na to, you can say that the seeds of it have always been there. But yung pagiging explicit ng LaSallian framework in terms of a diagram, in terms of a formal document, in terms of communication packages that are sent to alumni or students or whatever, that's pretty recent. And I suppose I'll say that it's it's more the organic forms of the Lasallian framework, like specific people in LaSalle that you use as examples for the way that you try to do your work. The people who have been influential in that respect are the late brother Andrew, the late brother Rafe, obviously Dr. Talio, the late brother Ceci, and some other people, more recently brother Armin, and some other people that I consider to be mentors within LaSalle. And to me, they are the ones who embody the brand of leadership that's exemplified within the Lasallian framework. And it's just by looking at the way they do things, the way they make decisions, the way they resolve difficult situations, that I feel the Lasallian framework exists, and that it's helpful. But it's not like a hard sell. You draw certain things and you study them. It's more observing over the time that I've spent here in LaSalle. In the beginning, kasi when you teach, you often bring your own ideas about how to teach and how to handle classes, how to deal with students into your work. But over time, as you observe who the good teachers in LaSalle are, what the good classroom practices are, then you get the sense na, meron ng framework. There are certain common elements of good professors within LaSalle. That's what you try to emulate. And then only after do you realize na, meron siyang framework. So it's a more organic process.
So the framework is just a formalization of what has
of
already
things
been
that you
observed.
observe. In fact, you'll need time to learn that kind of thing.
Sure, so last question. Are you able to apply this observed framework to your chosen career path?
Yeah, I think in that respect we're lucky because the framework was developed to try to shape the Lasallian environment. So since I work within the LaSalle environment, maybe it's easier for me to do it than it would be for people in other places. Like if you work in the government or if you work in the private sector, it might be a little more challenging to try to apply those principles of the Lasallian framework. But since it was designed almost exclusively to shape the environment within LaSalle, I think I have kind of a free pass.
It's easier on your
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Thank you, sir, for your time.
Okay. Thanks.